Okay, video number 50. We're coming up on a year of these things. Today's videos, the topic is your ancestors are with you, whether you know it or not. I used to believe, so mediumship is an ongoing learning thing for me, and I used to believe that we had relationships with people in spirit only if we knew them here in physical life. And even though I've said on my website, and I've said it in other videos, that anyone you know enough about can come through, like your spouse's grandparents, someone you may not have known. If you know enough about them, they can still come through in reading, and that does happen. I've done that to people as a medium, and it's happened to me as a recipient of messages from other mediums. So, but that's still, even though they were unknown to you, or maybe even to your spouse, that's still a relationship that maybe your in-laws had with that person. There's still some relationship or connection with people here in the physical world. And then I did, so early on, when I was very first developing, a friend of mine was letting me practice on her, and I connected with her grandfather. And I said, I believe what he's showing me is that one of the last things he ever did in this world was attending your wedding. She said, no, he passed years before I ever got married. And I was seeing a young version of her in wedding pictures, and I said, well, what I'm seeing is him standing up with you at your wedding, like while you're taking vows. So what does that mean? Did you maybe have something of his with you, like on your person? And she said, oh my goodness, we did, at the beginning of our wedding ceremony, we did this calling in the ancestors ceremony thing because I thought it was really beautiful. I saw it at someone else's and I wanted to add that into my wedding. I said, okay, well, he was there. That's fascinating because he was showing me standing up with her, taking her vows. Again, though, she knew her grandfather. She had known him when she was little. She had been close to him. And that was someone deliberately calling in ancestors. I've known people who do that. This woman happened to be Christian, so I was kind of surprised she'd done that because it's mostly my pagan or pagan-ish friends that do that and acquaintances. But apparently that's a thing. It's not just a ritual. They really do come, or really can come, when you do that. But what finally clicked over in my head to make me think of this as we have relationships with people, a couple things. First of all, what should have clued me in, well, first of all, I'll just tell you, I was sitting in a practice circle several months ago. Somebody connected with my dad's father, who died long before I was born, and who had no relationship with my father, much less my older brothers. He was just absent. So nobody knew him. And everybody at this point is gone that could have known him or that had any kind of relationship with him. It's just me and my brothers. And we never knew him. So I was sitting in a practice circle. Someone connected with this man, gave a lot of evidence, nobody took it, and she was kind of frustrated. She's a really good medium, and she said, well, okay, so you would have a picture of me in a top hat, like a magician's top hat. And I thought, oh, I have a picture like that. Who is that of? Oh, that's my dad's father. And so I said, could you recap everything you just said? So she did, and I said, yeah, that all fits, everything fits. She said, you understand he has a son, had a son. Like he only had one child, or he wants to talk about a son. I said, I know who that is. And then she described my father. She said, he's there. I said, yes, he's there. His son is there with him in spirit. I said, yes. And then she went on to describe my father in detail. And so that's someone who came through for me. I was the recipient, not the medium. And I had never known him. And his son was gone too, and he was estranged from. So that should have clued me in. But also, I realized as I was putting this video together that I've connected with people's grandparents, and what I've said this in other videos, what the grandparent has done is to say, I'm still grandma, or I'm still grandpa, and it took me a while to translate why I was getting it that way, or I'm grandma anyway, or I'm grandpa anyway. And it's because the grandchild that I was talking to was born after they had passed. But they were claiming, doesn't matter, still family, still my grandchild, even though they were born after I had left that world. So that's so obvious to me now that really is our ancestors, it's grandparents in this case, are still aware of us. They're aware of their own children and their children's children. And so they're part of our lives. They're there with us. I think they're there for us. I'm not sure how often they do, but I'm talking about, I don't mean this in a creepy, spooky way. It is a positive, loving focus of attention that they turn toward us. What I don't know is how long does that go on? Does it go to great-grandchildren? Does it go to great-great-great-great-grandchildren? Like, how far does that go? I have no idea, and I don't know that there'd be any way to prove that kind of connection anyway. And I've even wondered if spirit guides can't be or aren't people like great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents. I don't know. Anyway, from my own experience receiving messages and my own experience giving messages, our ancestors are definitely with us. It's not something that we recognize in Western society. We don't formally recognize ancestors in ceremonies very much, but they're there and they're part of our lives. I just thought that was really interesting. I know it's a short topic, but hopefully it'll start discussion here or elsewhere. Next week, sort of a related topic. Next week, I want to talk about, I think this will be a little bit controversial. I'm sure someone's going to give me flack about saying this, but next week I want to talk about the question that mediums get all the time in in-person group readings, which is if they can see us, are they watching us like in the shower or when we're having sex or that kind of thing? And of course, mediums always say, oh no, they don't do that. They would never do that. But I think they can do that, and I think sometimes they do. So I'm going to talk about that, and that's next week. And for now, thank you for tuning in, and leave your questions or comments below, and see you next time.